Welcome, you all. I am Baron Baptiste. Welcome to Disrupt the Drift. This is a place where we can tell the truth and the truth can be told. Do you struggle with procrastination, putting things off in life? You get an inner prompting, an inner knowing to do something. And you're like, oh, I'll just wait. I'll do it later. I'll do it in the afternoon, in the evening, tomorrow. Something stops you. Something in your head whispers, just wait. But in that moment, your inner prompting, that inner knowing, that intuition that's guiding you has been glossed over. It's been stepped over and left behind, which takes you down a completely different trajectory. If that's something you struggle with, you want to listen to this conversation. David, what's your take on it?
Baron, I've heard this my entire life. This is a saying from the Bible. He who hesitates is lost, and that originates from the book of Ecclesiastes. But, I think that hesitation has its roots, and we were talking a little bit about this before we started, in dealing with things from a place of courage. And I think that there are a lot of doubts that plague us all day long, every day, for a lot of reasons. Places where we've tried before and not succeeded or failed. Places where we have given only half an effort and only received half a portion for what we put in. We got back what we put in. So the hesitation part of it is something that needs to be really looked into, because how do you overcome hesitation? Let's say you get an important message, an insight, or some kind of a premonition even. How do you know that's something you should listen to as opposed to, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't do that? Now, I can just give you an example. I wanted to buy a home back in 2008, a bigger home than I live in now. And I could have afforded it at the time, but something kept telling me, don't. Something kept telling me, not a good time to do that.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to buy this home, but I didn't. And about 6 months after I let it go, the market completely crashed and I would have lost a huge amount of money and my investments. Where do you draw that line between instantly giving energy to things that you have a sense you should do, as opposed to stepping back and saying, is this really the best time to do this, or is this a really good decision? I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, I'll say it like this. You follow an inner prompting, and then, let's say you get an inner prompting to do something, like to buy something. That's happened to me so many times where, I can look back in my past and see these opportunities I missed. I put them off. Things now I wish I had done. On the other hand, there are a lot of things I didn't do that I put off at the time, looked like shiny objects. And I'm like, wow, I dodged a bullet. And so there's this balance. We can't really know. But here's what I have learned. When you follow your inner promptings, you get an inner knowing to do something. And it's, I want to do this. And then fear pops in. So you don't do it. Or some doubt or okay, I'll wait. I'll put it off. How do you know which is the way to go? One thing is that we have to do things to discover ourselves, to discover our potential, discover what we're made of. And that means that there's failure involved. But the more we follow our inner promptings, we may make mistakes. We will make mistakes. Let's just call it what it is. We will make mistakes. We will have failures, but it's all an opportunity to learn. And the more you follow your inner promptings, your inner knowing, intuition, it takes you down a completely different path in life. And I think that through that, the blessings open up versus living in fear, the anticipation, if I do, this could happen, or this terrible thing might unfold if I do it, or that's fine. Your rational mind needs to be handled and dealt with. So you know, okay, what's the cost payoff analysis there? You can look at it rationally. But at the end of the day, anything good in life, or I should say anything that's bigger, comes with risk. And there's no way around it. And it's through risk You said something earlier when we first jumped on, just you and I, about fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So it's also like you have to know yourself enough to know, are you being foolish? Are you being emotional? Are you being reactive? Do you want something too badly? And therefore, the first shiny object that shows up that seems to feed into what you really want too badly, that's foolish territory, because you're not being guided by that intuition. You're being guided by emotion, ego, and it takes something to really distinguish, wait, where am I coming from here? But also to the willingness to be at risk and to fail. That's where we discover ourselves.
Yeah, the word ego is a key word, I think. And I know that I've learned more from my mistakes than I've ever learned from any successes I've ever had.
I think it's the only place to learn.
Right?
Is through mistakes and failure. I think it's mostly the only place we really learn. If we have the mindset of, or we're coming from a place of learning. So when you fail, you learn from it, you extract the gold, the lessons, the learning, and you see yourself in there. If you were acting out of emotion or too strong of a desire for something, you learn from that and you shake the rest of it off and you move forward with those lessons.
So there's another saying, though, and that is that if you don't learn from history or, let's say, personal experience, you're doomed to repeat it. And so what have you taken away from those moments where something went terribly wrong? Relationships is one of those where I think that people have a tendency to be attracted to the same kind of people over and over again. Now, is it something within us that causes us to be attracted to the same kind of people, whether it's in business or in personal relationships? Is there something about us that is the key to setting us up for failure? Is it we who are setting ourselves up for failure, or are others setting us up for failure? Now, some of that is a bit predictable, to be honest with you, because human nature is very consistent. People are going to do what people are going to do. If they're going to start out one way, being smiling and slapping you on the back and being your best friend, there's a good possibility that could all turn around at some point and they could end up with trying to put the knife in your back, so to speak. And so the question is, how can you make good decisions about relationships with people? That's a key. And the key, I believe, is within us. And we go back to the word ego. Does that person appeal to your ego? Does that relationship appeal in some way? Oh, I need to get into this because if I don't, it's a fear of missing out, FOMO. You do things sometimes because you don't want to lose the opportunity. And again, this kind of goes against what I'm saying now, against he who hesitates is lost, because fools do rush in. People, for whatever reason, if you've got blinders on, you only want to see what you want to see.
Yeah.
And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it becomes, confirmation bias, and it happens over and over again. You got to step back and go, wait a minute. Let me just take a look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's good. It could be insecurity, that you're a yes person. So what you meet someone, you want something and you want it too badly. There's that. Then you're insecure. So you're a yes person. Someone asks you to do something. When I mean by insecure, it's like the need to be liked, the need to be people please, in the sense of you want some kind of confirmation to be seen a certain way. So you say yes, when really within yourself, that inner knowing is no. But you say yes when you really want to say no. Or you also have this default where your whole life, the other side of insecurity is like this, is like you are insecure, let's say in business. So you have someone approaches you with a business opportunity or something, or to join your team, and you have an insecurity that you can't do it on your own, and you need this person. Without this person, you can't do it. I certainly ran into that when I was younger. I used to run into this all the time because I had an insecurity of I needed a partner. I needed someone that could do something that I couldn't do. Now that's true. You want to work with people that are good at what you're not good at and that you don't even want to get good at. But when it's there's something there insecure, you then are bringing in the wrong person, saying yes to the wrong person, or you're trying to fill some void that's not healthy, and it always shows up to haunt you later on. There's
there's a huge amount of pressure in the world that we live in from peers and family and friends, and the pressure is based on expectations that people have of you, and honestly most people don't even care. This is the truth. No, hardly anybody actually cares about you. And so when they have expectations around that, and when they have a belief about who you are, you said something a couple podcasts back. I'm not who I think I am. I'm who you think I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people are. People will actually go based on what other people are projecting, but that's not necessarily going to work at all, period. If you think that you're going to make people happy, there's a short-term gain for a long-term result that may not be what it is that you expected yourself. You expect, if you start a relationship with somebody, whether it's business or personal, the short-term gain is, you get something right up front. It's like getting a new credit card. Hey, we'll give you 10% off today or whatever it is. You get a bonus. You get bonus points today. But then comes time to pay the bill. And the interest rate's 35%. So the interest on your investment in a short-term gain can be miserable. It can make your life a living hell.
Yeah. If you're run by emotions or just not wanting to deal with reality, let's bring it down to earth here a little bit. Live habitual patterns in life. And when I say bring it down to earth, from the moment you wake up in the morning, you do certain things. The way you are in the afternoons, maybe you have habitual patterns, habits you do. And then let's say you want to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop eating the way you've been eating. Maybe you want to get more you want to alter your state of mind, your state of body, your state of being spiritually. But yet the habitual patterns, the things you do consistently are not working. We're like products at the end of the day. We make our habits and then our habits make us. But to take on new habits, it's going against the grain. I know for myself, in the afternoons, I usually take a walk. I have a weighted vest. It's like a 30-pound vest I throw on and take my pup out and we'll walk for 45 minutes, an hour. I don't always feel like doing that. But I know when I get the prompting, I need to go take that walk, it's right there is the time to do it. If I put it off, I'll do it later, or I can miss that window. It's like acting on the things you know to do and taking the actions that are in opposition to your usual ways of acting and doing things. So if your usual way is just laying on the couch or just staying busy, you need to do something and you get the prompting to do it. Or maybe it's to sit and meditate, to get quiet and just locate your center, locate some quiet, get some a connection to your inner self, your grounded being, and a connection to your creator. But if you're just following the creature, there's conscience, we could say, and then there's creature. My creature, my body, all my emotions, body sensations, feelings, it doesn't want to do anything, especially if it's going against my usual ways, the typical habitual patterns of acting and doing things. I don't want to. When it comes to following the inner promptings around sitting to meditate, the creature that I am, that aspect of myself, doesn't want to. And I don't want to is almost like a mantra in the background for me. I know if I'm going to do something, I have to step in front of or get present to all the creature sensations, thoughts, feelings, emotions that just are full of resistance. And you have to step in front of that or act in the spite of that. And every time I act in spite of that for something that I know I should do that'll alter things for the better, every time I act on that, I get a new kind of power. I also get a new kind of confidence. I get a peace, inner peace, a peace of mind and freedom when I do things that the creature doesn't want to do, but my higher, the calling of my conscience, that inner knowing, I'm following that. It takes me to much better places. As Emerson said, do the thing and you will have the power. But I don't think it's just doing any old thing. I think it's doing the things that inwardly you're guided to do. Get on the yoga mat. Sit, meditate, get quiet. Don't reach for that food that you know is not good for you.
I was just looking at the stats for people, the happiest people in the world. And interestingly enough, this year tops the list of many of the Nordic countries, including Denmark, followed by Iceland and Sweden and Norway. And I think you were in one of those Icelandic countries recently.
I was in Iceland, back in June of this 2024.
You would think that in these colder climates, I think of being at the beach when I think of being happy. But these people have found a way, whatever it is, it doesn't actually say what it is, to find happiness. Now, so the question is, what is it then that is happiness defeating in your life? What is defeating your happiness? And I would say that we are doing things that we really don't want to do. And this is what I call the conscious process of elimination. If you could take 3 things that you could eliminate right away, just write them down and contemplate them and look at what those 3 things might be and what might change as a result of you just giving up a few things. But see, because when it comes right down to it, he who hesitates is lost means, let's say there's an opportunity that you could change a job that you really hate. 70% of people in America at least say they hate their jobs. It might be more than that. There's just those people that are admitting it. I look at the average person, like, how do they survive the mundaneness of their lives? Something has to change in your perception of what it is that makes you happy and then going toward it, as opposed to putting it off. Like you said, when you have the impulse to go ahead and take a walk or to sit and meditate. See, most people don't give themselves that. By the time they get home, they're exhausted and all they want to do is sit in front of the TV and have a beer and eat some spaghetti or whatever it may be. And what we're doing is we are anesthetizing ourselves after spending a whole day doing something we really don't want to do, hating it, being surrounded by people that hate what they're doing and really are not happy. And what is the perception change that has to happen? I say, write down the first 3 things that you want to change and change them.
Yeah.
And whatever
comes to mind. Yeah. Really write it down, get clear. But the thing is, I want to say this. There was a Gallup poll, pretty recent Gallup poll that said 85% of people in the U.S., 85% of the population wakes up every day in doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, suppression, dis-ease, like that. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's really in that realm. Like 85% of people are waking up in that state of mind and state of being. And it requires actions that are inconsistent with the actions you're taking and the reactions you're taking habitually that are leaving you in this state of being. Anxious, scared, fearful, worried, doubtful. You've got to take action. Now, I'm pointing to action, and because I believe the inner promptings of your conscience, the inner knowing, it's leading you when? Right now. Not someday, not later, but right now. It's like doing the thing now. But a lot of people wait. They think they think if they think it through more, then that will give them the actions to take. I learned to reverse that. When I take the actions, then the actions give me my thinking, the thoughts I have. They give me a state of being that is different and distinct from the person who is just thinking until ready to act. And there's something about just following the promptings. And we're not talking about just being spontaneous and carefree. And I'm just going to follow whatever I feel like doing, because what we're talking about here is not following what you feel like doing, the creature self, but rather it's a clarity, an inner knowing that meditation gives you access to clarify, like, where this inner knowing, it's not found in my emotions. It's not found in my body sensations. It's not found in my thinking. But when we take these new actions that are out of an inner guidance, we are given a different kind of thinking, a different kind of feelings and emotions. We want to alter our state of being. And then that gives us a different view of life. When you do something that's good for you and you follow that inner prompting to do something that's good for you, you have a different kind of thinking, a different kind of mood. And then that gives you the next steps to take. You then have a wholly different, I know if I meditate in the morning, I'm a wholly different person with a different outlook, a different perspective than the person if I wake up cloudy and foggy and I just launch into busyness and doing. I carry that confusion and that mood of confusion, chaos, or whatever it is, doubt. I carry that into the day. And it's not like a one-time event. It may be you need to sit and get quiet 5 times a day until it becomes more a way of being with life and in life. And you start seeing that you do have say in your state of being. But if you've been operating in a default state of being of worry, fear, doubt, resistance in your body and mind, you just get more of the same. And now you're living a reactive life. So getting quiet, getting still, coming out of the reactive mind and coming into a more connected, centered place to flow and move and breathe and have your being from your center rather than off center, a creature that is reactive in life that only gets you the results you don't want.
Here's the thing, man. We are all becoming extensions of our environment. In other words, we are becoming, it doesn't matter if you have an ambition to be successful at whatever you do. In the environment, as you said, it's like a habit. We adopt an environment, then the environment adopts us and we adapt to that. Mm-hmm. And so we no longer continue to shape our environment. Our environment then begins to shape us. And if you wonder why people have fantasies about when they were young and in their teen years and even in high school, there was a certain level of discovery that was yet to be had. There was a certain level of autonomy and freedom as a younger person because they didn't have the families, they didn't have the businesses, they didn't have the obligations. See, what we've done is we've created a giant spider web that we're all tangled up in. And we thought it was our idea.
Yeah, a matrix, a force field that we live inside.
We're all tangled up. And what I said to you when we first started talking today is like, if I really had my choice of what I would do with my life right now, I would go back to what I did when I was 18 years old, 19, 20 years old, when I was still getting up and going. My whole game was to go surfing in the morning and then do whatever it is that was left over after that. But that kind of gave my life.
Maybe it's time to start doing that again.
It obviously is time to do that. And I'm actually getting closer. It may not
be the same surfing and all that because you don't live near the ocean, but you could find ways that.
Well, no, I'm actually saying
part of yourself.
Going back to a tribe where in other words, I think a lot of people go to church because they feel like they're around their people, quote unquote. I don't feel that way.
Or a yoga class or a group at the bar or social situations. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But for me, being involved with the beach and when my father had a sailboat, and if I wasn't in the water, I was on the water. And if I wasn't doing that, I was fishing and doing things that connected me to nature, to the actual world. See, we're all disconnected from the actual world. Look at how much virtual stuff people do anymore. They have these mirrors where you exercise in a mirror that instructs you.
I have one. That company sent me one as a gift.
Yeah.
The mirror. I mean,
Everything is virtual.
But everything's virtual. Yeah.
And it's disconnecting.
I'm building an online yoga studio right now. So I relate to it's the world we live in, but there's something about what you're saying about this is what I hear. The freedom and the connectedness through whether it's nature and doing things you love to do, that you enjoy to do, but they get you present and they get you connected. And then when you come into the world, you're bringing that connectedness and that kind of organic, natural flow of who you are to the matrix, let's call it. But if you don't take that time and finding those experiences, those moments to reconnect, and then when you're connected, here's my experience is when I'm connected and I do things that connect myself to my higher self, let's say, and I go out, then I also have a different view of life. I have a bigger picture. And I also then see the kind of people that don't fit that. And I see the kind of people that do fit that. I'll be around people that are also like, they're working on being connected to themselves. They're like-minded people. They're people that, around them, I get to be myself. I don't have to sell out on myself in any kind of way. Or they're people that elevate me only because of the more minds that are like-minded for good things.
Now, see,
we're left elevated, right?
I have to
when we're disconnected, we put ourselves around people that only serve that and pull that down, what I call the dragon people. They're drag-ons, right? They drag on you and drag you down. Let's wrap up. Any last word?
Yeah, I just want to jump in and give you a testimonial. Because you invited me to one of your boot camps.
Oh, yeah.
In Cancun. I have to tell you, that changed my life.
Back in, what year was that?
I don't
early 2000, early 2000,
I think 2010.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the yoga. It wasn't anything. It was like, I did feel like I was around my tribe.
Yeah.
I felt we were all there searching for the same thing.
To better ourselves. Yeah.
It was truly a beautiful and amazing and awakening experience.
Yeah.
And you were the catalyst for all of that. And I really think that those kinds of experiences, and I can understand why people get addicted to going to the seminar type things. But at the same time, there's something liberating about being around people who are all moving in the same direction, looking for something liberating, something
all in their own ways. Yeah.
And so on that note,
okay, real quick, go for it.
Which is my new book, The Superconscious Mind.
Awesome.
And this is an amazing book. It really does help you find out how you can tap into your potential. And that's at escapeyourmindsprison.com.
Yeah, really good. And y'all can check me out at baronbaptiste.com. I'm rebuilding my website. So in the early first quarter of 2025, should have a nice new website, which I'm excited about. And then please like, subscribe, follow, share the show. If you're listening on audio platform, give us a 5-star review. We appreciate you, and the show wouldn't be happening without you. And there's quite a few of you. The show's just been growing, and it's really through you sharing it. And if you like it, please subscribe. All right. Until next time, stay bold, stay true, keep disrupting the drift within you and without you for a better way of life. Until next time, peace be with you.